Hello, my name is Ethan Phillips, and first off, I'd like to apologize for the close quarters. Here at home, I don't have much room to record, so I'm out in my car, but that also helps tie into my topic, as today I will be discussing whether you should buy a used vehicle or a new vehicle, and why you should probably choose a used vehicle. Now, everyone obsesses over the brand new cars. Everyone's out there looking at the coolest, expensive toys, and it's really not worth it. It'd be more worth your time to look at a used vehicle, and it'll save you in more ways than you'd think. Now, all of us here are getting ready to are ready to graduate high school, get ready for college, and or a job, getting looking at driving around a lot, going places. And you're not going to want to just go out and pull out a loan willy-nilly, buy a brand new car that you know nothing about. You're going to want to go ahead and think a little more about what you're doing. Now, we all already drive almost daily, or if not, you ride in a vehicle almost daily. And so it may be worth your time to consider that those older cars might be just better about all that. They might be a little more reliable, they might be more replaceable. They're definitely cheaper, they're more repairable in general, and they're the choice of millionaires and billionaires. And we'll get more into that later. Now, first thing I'd like to discuss, older vehicles are just cheaper. That's the way it is. They're not the bright new shiny toy that you're going to pull off the lot. So your upfront cost is going to be significantly reduced. You're not going to go spend tens of thousands of dollars, and if you do, it's not going to be a whole lot. Now, when it gets down to the loans, it'll also be cheaper and easier to pay those off because of that. And that feeds into your registration and your insurance. They're not brand new, so they're not as high risk. There's not as big of a payout from your insurance, but because of that, you're also going to be having a little bit cheaper cost just because that vehicle isn't bright and shiny. Now, a lot of this I've heard before. I'm good friends with a mechanic, and that helps. But the Rawhide team over at their website is also very knowledgeable on all this. And it's really important to look in and kind of do your fact checks. Check what you think. Go ahead, do your own research. And let's go ahead. We are on finances. Let's get back on topic a little bit and get to the idea of replaceability and repairability. Because older cars, you're gonna have to replace them at some point. It's just like a new car. You're not gonna hold on to them for 50 odd years, and if you do, you're gonna be babying it. So it's not like you're gonna be running into these issues all that much. Now, the first thing that's gonna be great is that there are more warranties out. Now, yes, that sounds like a bad thing at first, but with your older vehicles having more warranties, that means you're going to be able to get into a dealership, have it replaced, most likely cost free, and with better parts than you would get. Now, if you do run into a circumstance where there isn't a warranty for your vehicle, your parts will also be cheaper in general. As older cars, they're older parts, they're mass produced, you have tons of them laying around in your local auto body shop. You also get to run into the niceness of you have a bit more emotional distance from those vehicles. You're not as heavily attached to the older vehicles that you would like you would be with a brand new one. You didn't go out and pay $52,000 for your brand new Silverado. You spent maybe 15,000 in general, just rough estimate for your Silverado, and it's a little older and well, it's just not as easy to get attached to as the brand new one is that you just doled out $52,000 to. And that's another thing that Joshua Finch, my mechanic, he talked about that. How it's a lot nicer to distance yourself from the older vehicles so you're not as distraught when they do go down. Now, back to following trends. where you're following your parents or the more wealthy people in the area. You should more look take a broader stance and look out toward the fabulously rich and famous, such as Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg. All these people are out here and they're driving these beat up cars. And they do it simply because it's a much cheaper option. And in the long run, there's no point in buying a brand new car every year. There really isn't. Now, Dave Ramsey also talks on this. And he has his whole financial course set up, so I'm not going to dive too deep into the Ramsey method. But the gist of it is you want to wait maybe 5, 10 years until a vehicle's about 10 or 5 years old, and then it'll be much cheaper, and its value won't depreciate much more than that, not for a long time. And so that's when you should really be snagging them up, because if you're out there buying those brand new vehicles, you're going to lose all that value real fast. And now, uh, back to Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, all them. Finding this information was actually pretty easy, thanks to Yanni Bloomberg over at CNBC. Now, after observing all the lives of these fabulously rich and famous people, it's also important to kind of take a step back, review what and how this applies to you. Now, to kind of sum it all up, it's advantageous to purchase used vehicles over new vehicles for your own financial reasons, both upfront and in the long run. As shown by these millionaires and billionaires who are able to keep racking up money and they're driving these old beat up cars. Well, they might not be their key to financial success, they sure don't hinder it at all, unlike your brand new vehicle that might break down on you real fast and be real expensive. Now, I think that all of you should go out and research for yourself whether you should be following these trends or out buying your own vehicle. I personally will always buy used vehicles. I won't buy a brand new one off the lot, and that's the way it is. And I hope with my argument you'll consider doing the same.